Hello, friends, and welcome to the space where we discuss business, landscaping, beer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist here in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is Season 2 of Hops and Hedges. Stay tuned after each episode for a message from our sponsor, ext.tech. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There we go.
Already.
We are now recording. With me today is Jonni Deetjen. Jonni, welcome so much to the show. We've actually bumped into each other, I think, at both Seedy Saturday event and Earthfest here in London, Ontario.
Yes, that's right.
And you're the owner of Forest City Native Gardens. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Heather. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. I was so stoked to see your table at Seedy Saturday, and you had so many native but also locally sourced seed, which is so important because it's so easy to just go on Amazon and, I'm going to buy, Echinacea purpurea. And then you find out and it arrives and you've got lotus seeds from China.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't trust the internet. You can't trust the internet.
It's really tough. But no, that's one of the reasons why I think just having like a small business like builds trust with people and the community and everything.
Absolutely.
I harvest all my seeds either from the nursery garden that I have. So I've started plants over the years and everything, and they're producing seeds now. So I collect a lot of stuff from my nursery garden as well as just like, conservation areas and around town and everything.
Okay. And so is your the
local.
Nursery garden, is that your own property or do you have it at another property?
I have it here. So I rent this property and then in the backyard I have a big nursery garden. I have two of them actually now. So I started the one last year. And then I have another one that I started just this year, and that one has a bunch of shrubs and stuff in it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I have like a ton of shade at my own residence. So it's hard for me to do kind of the wildflower. I mean, there's still, don't get me wrong. I know that there's lots of wildflowers for the shade, but the wildflowers people are looking for, I can't really produce
absolutely
at that kind of big of a level.
So, with woodland gardens and everything, that seems to be honestly like something that I've dealt with a lot here in London. A lot of people have a lot of shade and everything in their yards. So I use a lot of like anemone for those types of situations and phlox and things like that. So
the woodland phlox is beautiful.
I know, right? Yeah, that's one of the ones I use all the time. So it's really wonderful.
I actually just bought, it's so funny because I'm always buying other people plants. I usually source, primarily I use NVK nurseries for all of my plants.
Okay.
But I always like put in a plant order and I get myself like one or two things, right?
Yeah.
And over the years, it just kind of builds. And this year I just bought myself a woodland phlox, finally. I don't know why it took me so long.
Oh my gosh.
But it's still blooming. Like I planted it, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and it's still going.
They go for a long time, actually. Yeah. And even when they're not flowering too, they look really nice. And, they just grow over rocks and logs and stuff like that and everything. So I think they just add like a really nice touch to those, woodland situations and everything.
Yeah, the darker, shady areas. And it is almost a true blue. Like it is a beautiful color on the blue.
Oh, I know, right? Absolutely. And there's lots of cultivars of them too. I know some people aren't really into the cultivars, but I'm a big fan. And I think they're really cool. And there's like all different kinds, pinks and purples and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see. I don't know who is doing the studies or if anybody's doing the studies, but I often wonder with cultivars, especially nativars, right? When we take a native plant and then we cultivate it and we change it a little bit. I wonder if the pollen output is, I'm sure it's not the same, but I wonder if it's still beneficial or if it's like none.
Yeah, I know that I'm pretty sure it's the Mount Cuba Center. They've done research on that. And certain cultivars produce pollen at like the same rates and everything, and some do not and everything. I think when dealing with residential gardens and everything, it's like every situation is very particular. And some people, want, flowers of a certain color, and, planting a nativar is definitely better than planting like, some invasive periwinkle.
Exactly. That's my argument for nativars.
Yeah.
It is better than planting an invasive or an aggressive, because we do have some native plants that you can't call them invasive, but they're
Hmm.
very aggressive and they will take
Absolutely.
over. And if you have an open area and you don't want something aggressive, well, maybe a
Hmm.
nativar is a better option than sticking to something that's, going to get crazy.
And that's the situation I mainly deal with is just like residential gardens and stuff like that. So,
Right.
we're not trying to do anything like, certain plants like common milkweed and stuff like that can be really aggressive for certain residential properties and stuff. So, just keeping that in mind. And yeah, sometimes using cultivars and stuff is totally fine in my opinion.
Have you ever used there's a white, I think it's a white swamp milkweed for shade?
I have not. I was actually just talking to a client yesterday about using swamp milkweed, just the regular, like pink flowering one for that. And
I don't think it's a cultivar.
I'm pretty sure that's like the purple or the white echinaceas too. I'm pretty sure that's just like a natural phenotype that happens or something
Interesting.
like that too.
Yeah, so that's one that I've got my eye on. I guess it's Asclepias perennis, white swamp milkweed. So that's one because I've
That
got a
sounds
shade
cool.
garden, right?
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
talk
Yeah.
about so my random ADHD mind because you're
Mhm.
like that's fun to say. Do you have a favorite plant that's fun to say in Latin?
Asclepias is really fun to say for sure.
Asclepias is a lot of fun. It's such a random question. I'm
I
just
know
putting
that
you on the
is
spot.
totally a random question. Echinacea, it just has like a nice flow to it. It
It
sounds like kind of
does.
whimsical to it. It
It's
has a whimsical
symphonic.
sound to it.
Echinacea.
Yeah, echinacea, so something like that, I guess. I'm trying to pull one off the back of my head that would be like a good a showstopper. I can't think of one.
Of when I was remembering or learning the plant names in Latin at Fanshawe, I always remember horse chestnut, the
Mhm.
Aescellus,
Okay.
because I actually remembered it like as if the horse chestnut was a gangster, and he was like,
Yeah,
"Hey, Aescellus," and
that's
that's how I
amazing.
remembered it.
Okay, there's so many things like that that just like click in my mind. That's like, okay, that's how I'm gonna do it now.
Or have you ever been on site with a client and you use the Latin name, but you gotta use your pen and say it like a Harry Potter, um, what do you
Right?
call it? Like phrase,
Exactly.
like saying
Echinacea purpura.
yeah, Echinacea purpurea. My favorite is
Right.
Metasequoia glyptostroboides.
That's
Jeez.
impressive. And you just point your pen and it's there.
Absolutely. That's where it's going to go. Love it.
Yeah.
So random. Um,
Oh my gosh, that's so
thanks for
funny.
coming on my ADHD journey with me.
Thank you for
So
coming on mine with me.
perfect. So many questions for you. I'm really excited to learn about yourself, your background, how you got into this, your love of horticulture, of course, something we both share. But I notice you're drinking. Is that a peace tea?
It's
Is
a
that what it's called?
PT.
And it actually has
That's
a peace
right.
sign. Peace tea.
That's right.
Nice. And that's one of the,
Yeah.
it's like a lemonade iced tea, right? Or is
Yeah,
it
it's
just
just a
iced tea?
lemonade, non-alcoholic iced tea. It just kind of reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of Warp Tour.
Warp
So
Tour. Okay.
yeah, of all things,
What's
gave them
Warp
out for
Tour?
free.
I actually don't know.
What's that?
What's Warp Tour? I don't know.
It was this traveling kind of like pop punk festival that went
Okay.
around in the summer, and it was just like so much fun. It was basically my childhood listening to like Bring Me the Horizon and Pierce the Veil and all those, emo
Okay.
bands and stuff like that.
I skipped many phases, I feel, because I moved to India when I was quite young and I lived there
Oh
for a
wow.
year.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
I'm such like I was born in the 80s, so I'm
Hmm.
older than you by like a lot. Just don't tell anybody.
Not so much.
Okay.
95.
Yeah. So, but I am a diehard 70s and 80s music fan.
Me too,
So,
actually.
my husband actually a couple of years ago he scored a couple of tickets to Krista Burr.
Okay.
So Lady in
Oh,
Red.
that's cool.
He
Yeah.
came to London
Wow.
and I am such a fangirl. It's embarrassing. Like
Oh my God.
those who know me know I'm
Yeah.
slightly obsessed with Krista Burr. And actually
That's
he's on
so
my vision board here somewhere playing the guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I have a signed, I can't see it
Oh my God, that's
backwards.
so amazing. Yeah, my wife and I are going to see the Psychedelic Furs in July, actually. So
Nice.
another throwback for you.
Is that going to be here in London?
It's in Windsor, actually. It's at a
Oh, okay.
casino, so it's probably going to be a bunch of 80-year-olds.
Oh, gotcha. Awesome. So I'm actually not having a beer. I wanted to try this, Heman's Greenhouse, right? It's
Oh,
both,
absolutely.
we both use them here in London, but
Of
they
course.
had, and I don't know if they still have it because I did get this a while ago. I was saving it for a special occasion.
Mhm.
They had this tropical mead
Okay.
and it is really good.
That sounds
It
really
it
good.
tastes like summer. So this
Is it
is
like
a
pineapple and
6%.
stuff?
It's interesting. I didn't actually read it. If there is pineapple, I'm not getting a pineapple. It says tropical flavors, but passion fruit, kiwi, lemon, and guava.
Yummy.
It's really
That
good.
sounds really tasty.
It's really good. So shout out to Hemans and Heman Cellar and this can is beautiful.
Always shout out to humans.
Yeah. Love those guys.
Yes.
I'm
And
gonna
they
have
have a
another
great
sip.
native plant selection too.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. And I like
Mhm.
that their signage too. Like they're one of the first,
Yes.
or I don't know about first, but one of the first greenhouses that I've seen personally
Mhm.
put an actual almost a not a warning, but a caution label on things that are invasive. So
Mm.
like if you go to pick up they do sell periwinkle,
Yeah.
but it has a yellow label and it
Mhm.
says, please note that this plant is considered invasive in Ontario and can be aggressive, right? So good
Yep.
for them. We need to
Absolutely.
educate
Yeah.
the publics.
Absolutely. And yeah, having the nice signs with all the native plants and everything that really like draws people in and everything. So I
Hmm.
really do think it's very much a marketing thing in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. And the more that people know about it, I think the more people are going to ask for it. And
Yeah,
people,
definitely.
horticultural and design like minded people like yourself and me, it's up to us to kind of start incorporating natives even when they don't ask for it.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like
no,
if
I
you're
mean
working
just
with a
kind of
client,
sneaking them in.
right? I mean, if we're sneaking in hostas and boxwoods and people aren't asking for hostas and boxwoods, we can just as easily be sneaking in and putting in native plants. Why not?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's another thing, like I was kind of saying with the cultivars and everything. There's always going to be some sort of invasive or non-native plant that you can find a native plant that looks nearly identical to, and you can just kind of swap that out for that and no one really would even notice. So stuff like that is just super simple.
I definitely think one of the misconceptions or misunderstandings, assumptions, I don't know, there's a word there that I'm not quite hitting,
Hmm.
that the general public have is they think native plants and native gardens look messy and wild. And they
Yes,
don't have to be. That's a design choice.
absolutely.
It's how you design it, it's how you maintain it.
Absolutely. No, unfortunately, I think a lot of the not to call anyone out in particular, but like the no-mo people, the kind of like hippier types and everything, have somewhat given a bad name to it, with somewhat overgrown yards and everything. But
Right.
there's really a way to incorporate everything to make it look really nice. Even some of the plants that aren't traditionally used in landscape settings, like the New England asters and stuff, I think really look nice and can
Yeah.
be really just like thrown into a garden and look totally natural and normal and just fit in like any other plant.
Right. Well, and even like the goldenrod family, so
Mhm.
many people are used to, and I'm not good at identifying milkweed or goldenrod because there's
Yeah,
so many different varieties.
so
But the
many.
one that people usually see, right, in the ditches and whatnot, it's very recognizable. And that's
Yeah.
the one that people think of when they
Hmm.
think goldenrod. But I know there's a zigzag goldenrod, right?
Exactly.
There's all these other ones. I know there's a white goldenrod. Like
Yeah.
there's some really great goldenrods out there that put them in your garden.
I didn't know about the white goldenrod until earlier this year, actually, and I was kind of blown away by that. I was like, that's really unique and very cool.
I'm gonna pull it up right now while I'm saying so Solidago bicolor or white
Okay.
goldenrod. Yeah,
No,
and it's stunning.
yeah,
So why
absolutely.
not?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, gardens, I think every garden should have a goldenrod and an aster in it. I think those are really, really important plants, especially for the late season pollinators and everything.
Absolutely. I think we're so, what do you call it? I think there's lots of focus on spring, bulbs and spring
Hmm.
blooms and early summer blooms. Then you have the heat of the summer and it's like a drought
Yeah.
where there's nothing. And then in
Hmm.
fall, there really is an opportunity for all these fall pollinating native plants, but people assume that they're native, they're wild, they're ugly, they're
Yeah.
messy, right? So,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's
um,
something that I always try to talk to clients about is the importance of having stuff that blooms as long as possible. We try to get stuff that blooms as early as April and continue it as long as the first snow if possible. So,
right.
there's stuff for to keep it going all the time.
Yeah, and that's part of the seasonality too, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people think that seasonality is just for the pure enjoyment of the humans living there looking at the garden. But if you
Exactly.
have things that bloom at different time and you have that seasonal interest, you have
Hmm.
those sculptural perennials in the wintertime,
Yeah,
that is providing habitat and a food source in the winter as well.
exactly. 100%. totally.
So, Johnny, you're also in London. We're both Londoners. When you filled out the questionnaire, I know we've been trying to do this interview for a while and just the season got ahead of
Yeah, it's a crazy time of year for us.
it is. But hey, happy June. Happy Pride
Yes.
Month.
Yeah, you
It's
too.
like,
You
it
too.
just happened to be perfect. So I was like, oh, I got to wear these
Yes.
cool earrings that I got from, where was it? Oh, the Dainty Dragon.
Those earrings are so awesome.
Yeah, I wish we could maybe see them closer, but yeah,
Oh, I
they're
see the rainbow at the
the rainbow on this one, and then there's a heart on this one because I love
Oh, that's so
asymmetry.
cool. Yes.
So
That's
it's like, I don't
awesome.
want two earrings that look the same. Anyway,
Right.
wow, my brain. So you just had in business at the time that you filled out the questionnaire, you've had your 1 year anniversary in business. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that was back in March, I believe.
In
Yeah, so the
March.
1 year mark.
Okay. So congratulations. That is
Yeah,
a big to do, having a business, starting a business and running
thank
with
you so
it.
much.
So keep
Yeah.
going, never surrender. You're like,
Thank you.
oh my God.
No, no, no. It's going strong. But it's
Good.
really picked up over the last years. Yeah, no,
Nice.
infinity and beyond, you know.
Do you know what? That's so funny. I was saying that too. I was saying infinity and beyond,
Right?
like in the early days of my business. Nobody's stopping me. Like I'm
It's
giving
one of
her.
those things where I think that the more clients that you get, the more exponential growth that you'll have, over time just through word of mouth and the more established that you get and everything.
Yeah. And I think when you have a passion and you have a knowledge, that sticks with people,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
So two people that on the questionnaire, I always like to think or ask people if they've had a mentor or somebody who's had an impact to you. And you mentioned Doug Tallamy, of course.
Doug Tellamy.
Incredible. So do you know him personally?
I do
Or
not, unfortunately.
his books and his writings and
Yeah, no,
he's
I'm familiar
extraordinary.
with all his books and, I listen to all his podcast interviews that he does over time and everything. But
Yep.
yeah, unfortunately, I've never got the chance to see him speak in person or anything like that. But if he
Hmm.
ever comes up to Toronto or anything like that, does a
Let's
speaking,
go. Trip. I would
right?
love to do that too. Be
I
so
know.
cool.
Yeah, no, he's a total icon in the movement for sure.
Yep.
There's other people too for sure. One person that I listen to all the time is the Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't podcast, Joey Santor. He's a native plant advocate. He's originally from Chicago, but he's out in Texas now. But he's a
Okay.
big inspiration for me, and I listen to him all the time
Oh,
too.
what's his name again? Sorry, I missed that one.
Crime pays, but botany doesn't.
Crime pays, but botany doesn't. That's
He's
fun.
hilarious. He's very like dirty mouth and hilarious and very Chicago, which speaks to me because that's where I'm from too. So
Okay. Well, there's a little segue there. So how'd you end up in London from Chicago?
I met my wife in 2017 online, actually on Facebook of all places. So
Yeah.
yeah, then I moved up here in 2019. So yeah, I've been up here since just before the pandemic, I guess.
My gosh. So you come up here and then you're locked down,
I know
shut
that was
in.
crazy timing for sure.
Yeah. We won't talk about COVID.
Yeah, that was around, I mean, it wasn't all bad because I think that was around the time that a lot of people started getting into this stuff, myself included. I was a
Mhm.
little bit before that because I read Doug Tallamy's book the prior year, but that's when I kind of started getting into this sort of thing.
COVID was definitely a balancing act, right? There was good things that came out of it. There was bad things that came out of it.
Of
It was certainly a
course.
time of reflection. I think
Mm,
a lot of us realized that, oh, what I'm doing isn't working. And maybe my mental health actually is a priority.
yeah, absolutely.
Like there
Absolutely.
were so many people, myself included, working a nine
Hmm.
to five thinking, I'm doing great because
Yeah.
I'm doing what society says that I should be doing. And then everything changed. And it was like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, like everything changed.
I know
So,
it really puts things into perspective. I was doing delivery driving, like driving groceries and stuff back and forth for people and everything during the pandemic. And,
yeah.
then things shut down and stuff. And I think, yeah, just getting outside and everything is really just beneficial for everyone's mental health, myself included, obviously. So,
Yeah.
I think that was a big motivation in starting the business too, is just like needing to do it for kind of personal reasons in a way.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I would
Hmm.
say that I did it for selfish reasons on the offset because
Yeah.
I was a landscape manager and nobody was hiring. So it's like, well, this is what I do and this is who I am. So I guess I'm starting a business. Had no
Yeah.
idea what I was doing. So figure it out.
And that's what I really like about your business too, is just how authentic it is, And that's
Thank
what I'm
you.
trying to like kind of emulate with mine too, is just, putting myself forward and, if people want that, then hell yeah.
Love that. Yeah, never, never, ever. Oh my gosh. My brain is thinking about all the people who have really influenced myself
Mm,
because at the beginning I had like big time imposter syndrome. I know that was something
yeah.
that you mentioned as well, but I had one person for sure comes to mind, Sean James. If you're not
Hmm.
following him, you got it. He's another native plant guy here in Ontario.
Okay.
But Sean James, I remember early on, somebody introduced us over Zoom, and I was asking for people if they would sit down with me for an hour on Zoom to tell me about themselves and their business because I was thinking about starting my own business. During that Zoom call, so this is the first time Sean's met me,
Hmm.
and he stopped me, he interrupted me, and he's like, hey, don't ever make yourself smaller to make somebody more comfortable, and let your weird flag or your freak flag fly. I say this all the time. Let your freak flag fly.
You
You.
go.
You don't need to fit into anybody else's box.
Exactly.
Okay?
No,
You do
that's a
you,
wonderful quote.
and your people will find you,
That
right?
is so wonderful. Yeah, no, that's wonderful advice. And, I think when you're going into the field of doing something just a little bit off kilter, like doing something with native plants or, whatever really, just putting yourself out there as,
Mhm.
the face of it and front and forward and everything is just like, and like you mentioned earlier, just having the enthusiasm and like authenticity and everything just really gets people going.
People are always gonna say stuff,
Exactly.
right? Like, I've got the, "You design gardens?" It's, like, super judgy. It's
That's
like, I do. I actually design outdoor spaces for fun, play, and connection
right.
between
Yeah,
people and
exactly.
between people and nature. And if that is not
100%.
something that appeals to you or something that you don't feel is important, that's okay, it doesn't need to be. You will find your people,
Hmm.
but I'm not your people.
Absolutely. I think that's something that should appeal to everyone, though, is just, I love that. I love I don't know if it was Doug Tallamy or someone said it, but the concept of having your yard kind of as a living museum, and just
Yes.
interacting with it and, just doing that in your backyard is like so important, it
So
really
important
should
and so
be
rewarding, right? I
absolutely.
often think, I think it was a conversation I had with my husband. I forget what it was. Because I think I went on a bit of a rant, which
Hmm.
happens with the ADHD. Right?
Of course.
And I was like, I just find like what we do is so important. I call ourselves horticultural heroes, right? Like we're doing
That's
important work.
cute.
And I said something about the fashion industry because I don't get it, right? I
Hmm.
don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't follow trends.
Yeah.
All my clothes are used.
Everything I have is thrifted
Which
right now.
reminds me, this shirt is so awesome.
It's backwards. Like,
Oh no, North, strong and free.
oh, there you go.
Molson, Canada, even though I don't drink Molson. Shh, don't tell
Elbows up.
Molson. Elbows up.
There you go.
Ow, I just hit my pipe.
Oh,
Okay, it's okay. Just everybody on the internet
don't show
saw
that to the
that.
conservatives.
Elbows up. If you put your elbows up, they have to come down. Hopefully
Yeah.
not on something.
Oh my
Ow.
God.
Wow, that was a
Jesus.
tangent.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't even know where I was going with that. But anyway, that was an adventure and a half.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for tuning in. So I did want to, so coming back to mentors, you mentioned Doug
Yes.
Tallamy, but you also mentioned somebody named Paul Watson. Can you tell
Yeah.
us who's Paul and how they've influenced you?
Paul Watson, he is the founder of Greenpeace and the founder of Sea Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
And they're, yeah, obviously both huge conservation organizations. And I read Paul's book probably 2009. It was the book about the seal hunt that goes on up in, I don't know if it's like Newfoundland, somewhere up north, but it's pretty crazy and everything. That book really got me involved in environmental activism and everything. So that kind of started my journey on everything, honestly, was just getting involved in environmental activism and going from there.
Right. It's interesting because I don't have the words, so this is my blank face that I'm just when you mentioned the seal hunt, because I remember speaking with an indigenous individual
Mhm.
talking about how like the whole community, their whole their whole community was pretty much attacked by the world for doing what they've been doing all these years,
Yeah, not the
right?
indigenous. Yeah, it's not the indigenous seal hunting. It's like the fishermen
Right.
up in Nova Scotia that do the the seal clubbing stuff, unfortunately. It's not the indigenous stuff.
But there was this whole misunderstanding, and people are assuming that
Oh, and
it's
people were blaming like indigenous. Yeah, of course,
like,
everything.
what a mess.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's so terrible.
and
Yeah, no,
I
they're
feel bad that I don't have the facts, so I'm gonna have to look them up
yeah,
and write
yeah,
them down.
no, they're yeah, Sea Shepherd's focus was on the it's on the east coast of Canada, the
Okay.
fishermen up there that do the seal hunting and everything. So yeah,
Crazy.
and it's for like, the fur trade and everything. It's unnecessary. It's not like for sustenance hunting or something like that.
It's crazy for me to, yeah, there's so much misunderstanding in this world. If we all just
Hmm.
told our stories and shared stories and took time to sit with each other, we could learn so much from each other.
Absolutely.
So it's just, sorry,
Absolutely.
my brain
And no, I
went
mean,
blank.
like,
So I was like, oh my gosh, my heart breaks for a second there. I just
yeah,
felt
no,
everything.
absolutely. And like, just going back to what you were saying just about like, the indigenous thing and indigenous wisdom and everything, just, with the native plant stuff, nothing is
Hmm.
more, I don't know the wording that I'm looking for, but it's something that I think really connects people to like the area that they're in and everything. I think
Hmm.
that, if you're growing stuff from, Asia or Europe or something like that, and you're bringing something in, specifically stuff that's like really invasive or something, it's kind of, not to get all, woke or whatever, but it's a colonizing mindset, so it's
Yeah.
something that I think people should kind of keep in mind too, just to be respectful of the land that they're on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had the privilege of seeing, oh my gosh, I'm not going to think of her name right now. Where's her book? Oh my gosh. I'm totally blanking on her name right now. Kimmerer.
Yeah, yes, yes.
So she did a talk in London,
Hmm.
and it was so powerful. I've never heard her speak live before, but I
Hmm.
loved how she talked about how, the people who are horticulturalists and landscape designers,
Hmm.
they're taking quite a like an ownership, or I forget the term, not ownership,
Hmm.
stewardship for this
Stewardship, yeah.
land. But she was talking about how, North Americans specifically,
Mhm.
but we like to think about, or we assume or categorize land as property. It is a thing
Mhm.
to be owned. Where in her wisdom and in the teachings, she's like, this is a land is a living thing. There are living things
100%.
here. So you
Mhm.
don't, we own it. Like, I bought this property and I pay
Yeah.
property taxes, and that's so like, this is my property line. You stay on your side
Yep.
and I'll stay on my side. But we are the stewards of the land. We will
Yep.
not be here forever.
Yep.
And I'd like to think
100%.
the planet will, but I don't think it will, because
I
probably
completely
going to blow
agree.
ourselves up.
We have our little house on our land, and I think that's our domain. I think we can do what we want inside our houses and everything. But, outside, I do think that it, is important to kind of think of the broader context that we're in, So
Exactly. That's
uh
something, as a designer, I remember at Fanshawe. It's funny because they weren't talking about Eastern versus Western wisdom, but that's what I got from it. When they
yeah.
mentioned how, borders and property lines
Mhm.
are man-made lines in the sand.
Right.
Like, if you
Exactly.
have a fence on this line, guess what? You're going to have bugs
Mhm.
and weeds that don't care there's a fence there.
That's so true. That's so
Like,
true. So, yeah, so I mean, the more that we can encourage people to just kind of plant more stuff that's native, more stuff that's ecologically friendly and everything, it just opens up the whole area to stuff. It creates corridors that connect, wildlife. So they don't have these just massive barren food deserts, basically.
so important. Look up
Hmm.
corridors. If you're tuning into this episode and you're like, corridors, what the heck is wildlife corridors? Look it up. Very important, especially in residential within our cities. There are things that we can be doing as designers and garden installers and horticulturalists and landscape contractors to make sure that we are, maintaining and encouraging these corridors to actually flourish.
Totally. I think it's
Um,
more important now than ever, too, with just everything going on politically and all that. I think that the responsibility at this point really does lie with a lot of property owners and just people that rent that can just toss down some plants and everything, because the combined land of all the private property in the US and Canada and everything, it really dwarfs a lot of national parks and
Yeah.
all the provincial parks combined, probably. I don't have the statistics on that,
We
but,
have so much
you
here.
know,
We have so much land here.
exactly. And, if everyone just plants a little patch of something, it really does make a huge difference. So,
It's something that I find very I don't know. I am an optimist, but I like thinking that what was it? Sorry, my brain. So I saw John Cleese. He was doing a world tour, and I
mhm,
think it was the Nothing Matters tour. It was something like that. And it was the first time that Trump became president. I don't even want to
okay.
say his name, but anyway.
Yeah.
So John Cleese was doing this thing, and it was encouraging people that I would say it filled me with hope anyway. But he says that you will never, if you wake up and you think you're going to change the world, go back to bed.
Hmm.
Like, you're not going to change the world. You can't. You're one person. Have you seen how big the planet is? Do you have any idea what the population of the planet is? Like, he went on this rant.
Yeah.
And the Earth is just a speck in the universe. You're not going to change the universe. You're not going to change the planet. You know what
Hmm.
you can change? Is in one day, you have the possibility of meeting how many people? Hundreds?
Hmm.
You can impact all of those lives by smiling at them, saying hi, and just not being a dick.
I'm a huge fan of personal responsibility. I think it's great.
Could you imagine what a world we would live in if you just went through your life with the one rule? It's kind of my one rule. Just don't
Hmm.
be a dick.
Yeah,
You
no,
want to go on the bus? Say hi.
I think that would
Introduce yourself.
really lower the blood pressure of everyone too. I think that
Oh
would
my
be
gosh, we're
really
so stressed
beneficial.
out.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's another reason why I love gardening. I talk to all the plants and none of the plants ever yell at me.
Exactly. There you go.
They
There you
will.
go.
Okay, you need
I've
water.
never seen anyone get in a slap
An
down at
argument with
Walmart
a,
over.
I got to do that on Instagram. You and I
Right.
should start this. We'll start a trend. We're having a
There you
huge
go.
argument with a client, and the client is a echinacea.
Right. The
Anyway.
echinacea is just sitting there like, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, we could put the eyes on it and it's just blinking.
Yeah.
So sassy. Those echinaceas, so sassy. So talking about native plants, I know on the questionnaire you mentioned the Echinacea purpurea. We've already mentioned that, the purple coneflower as your favorite.
One of my favorites for sure.
Nice. And we have mentioned goldenrod. We've mentioned milkweed. Do you think, like, if you were talking, like right now, so we have probably landscapers, landscape professionals, and just members of the general public listening to this episode.
Mhm.
Can you think of, or maybe recommend some native plants that you're like, guys, this is so easy. Just do it. Like, what are some that come to your mind that you're like, man, this is so good?
I feel like I'm gonna be known as the red osier dogwood lady because I've just recommended that to everyone
Yep.
this year, basically. It really is just a fantastic little shrub that makes a wonderful hedgerow. And like
Yep.
we were talking about too, with that four season interest, it has these super, super vibrant red, sticks that poke out of the ground in the fall and winter and everything. So it really is just like a gorgeous plant year round. And the flowers
Yep.
on it are really cool. It supports a lot of caterpillars. I can't say enough good things about that one.
Okay. So the red osier dogwood. What else have you
Yeah,
got?
that's another good one. I really do like the another good one that's underrated in my opinion is the purple prairie clover. I really like that one.
Oh.
It's Dahlia purpurea, maybe.
Prairie clover. Okay.
Pretty sure it's a nitrogen fixer too, so it's good for
Yeah, all clovers are, yeah.
yes, yeah. So I'm pretty sure yeah, I really like that one. Some other ones, cardinal flowers, that's always like a classic one that I
So
use in a lot of
nice.
my installations.
Well, and the foliage is gorgeous. So even if it's not in bloom, it has a
The foliage is
beautiful,
really
really, really
nice.
deep foliage to it.
I know, and it's hummingbird pollinated, so it just brings in
Hmm.
tons of those. I'm a big fan of a lot of hummingbird pollinated plants. Yeah, so stuff like that.
Okay. And then what else was I going to ask you? Oh, what are some plants that you would recommend people avoid, like at all costs?
Well, obviously anything that's invasive, anything that's not native and invasive. Other things for residential gardens, I recommend against planting a lot of different vines and everything because a lot of times those can get crazy and out of control and just kind of, pop up through rhizome, 20 feet away from the original plant and everything. So,
I hear you. I always tell people like they're a great add-on to your garden, but they are not
uh
low maintenance. So if you're
yes,
looking for a low maintenance plant, a vine is not an option.
that's right. That's
If you
right.
want to look
Yeah,
after it
good
and train
advice.
it and take off all the freaking runners but you just need to know what you're signing up for, right?
It's a lot of work. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And a low maintenance vine, I think I can't remember the genus name offhand, but the honeysuckle vine, I believe that is a native one.
I need to double check too, but I
One
think the
second.
vine is invasive because we have
I'm
a bush
thinking,
honeysuckle that is native, but the
okay,
vine honeysuckle is an invasive.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the coral honeysuckle, which is native to here. And that is Lonicera sempivirens.
I'm just double checking on my end too, because it's like I didn't know that we had a vine that.
Yeah, no, forget what I said about the vine honeysuckle.
Okay, so it's not a vine; it is a shrub, right?
Yeah, it kind of has like
Okay.
a vining habit though, so you can like kind of train it up trellises and stuff like that, I believe.
Okay, because Lonicera and parabens is the trumpet honeysuckle and Major Wheeler, but they're native?
I'm seeing native to Eastern United States on Wikipedia. This is
Okay.
turning into a research session.
No, I'm so excited. Well, I'm going to be looking this up because
No,
that would be news to me. I did not know that. Lonicera sempervirens. Okay, native, question
I
mark.
like this
And
because these are the types of podcasts I listen to. People researching stuff in real time and
yes, let's
like
go
that.
down this rabbit hole together.
Absolutely. I love it too.
Perfect. I also was going to ask you, so favorite tool? You mentioned UV sunglasses.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a
no,
good thing to
that's a
have.
good that's a good thing for sure.
You have
Can't
like
live
really
without my
classy ones.
sunglasses.
Like I imagine you'd look really good with like, I want somebody to
I
make
have
safety glasses. Oh, you do. You had them ready.
these
That's
ones. Yeah, they're
awesome.
they're kind of like zebra.
I love, it's so funny. I have mine too. Wait,
I
you got to
know,
put
right?
yours on. That's so random. We did not
There
actually
we
plan
go.
this.
Hey,
Oh,
there's the thumbnail.
yeah, there we go. Here, can we do I'm not cool enough to know any like,
I
oh
don't
wait,
know. I always do the peace sign. Yeah, there we go.
peace.
Right. Thumbnail complete.
Perfect. That'll be the cover thumbnail. Wow, random. Love that. Yeah, protect your eyes. Safety is
Yeah,
important. Safety is
exactly.
important. What else was I going to ask you? Oh my gosh, so many other things.
Favorite garden tool you mentioned too, just the clippers, the shears. Those are just really
Oh,
the
shears.
fun, because I've been working in a yard that has so many roots and everything, and I've just
Yep.
been trying to do paths and stuff through it. So just
Right.
clipping roots every few feet is what I've been doing.
Do you know what? I'm gonna send you a link, and if I remember, I'll post it to the podcast episode. So a very good gardener friend of mine and we used to work together until I lost my job and I didn't work there anymore. But for my birthday a couple years ago, he got me these awesome loppers and they're ratchet powered.
Oh, really?
So it has like this big, like it's a big claw tooth on it or mouth or whatever you want to call it. And you can just use 4 fingers, like 2 thumbs and 2 fingers, and you can go like this and it clicks and it locks the ratchet, and then it clicks and it locks the ratchet, and you don't use any muscles.
What?
Yeah.
That's
like I've been
crazy.
cutting down buckthorn the size of my wrist.
Oh my God.
With these things. So I'm going to find out what this is. He got them for my birthday. Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to toss that in the show notes because I need that.
Okay. You know what? Somebody also told me that I need to get an Amazon account where I can recommend certain products. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I'm still learning.
Amazon wish list or something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's not a wish list. It's so if you have a podcast or Instagram or something and somebody purchases something through your link, I don't know if you get a kickback or if it goes to Amazon points or I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
I've been doing this podcast for 2 years and I feel like I'm still new, still learning. Looking at the time here, we've got about 10 minutes left and I do have a couple more questions for you. But before we get to books and a few other things, one thing I know that we both are very passionate about is mental health. So going through, you mentioned earlier too, COVID really forced a lot of us to focus on what is important.
Absolutely.
What do I need to do to look after myself? And we did mention, anxiety, panic attacks, imposter syndrome. Those are things that I'm right with you. I was actually just thinking, sorry, this is again the ADHD brain. So my husband and I were watching the show Rookie. It's really good. We're really enjoying it. But there is an episode where someone, I don't know if she's a witness, I can't quite remember, but she's in the interrogation room or whatever, and she has an anxiety attack. As soon as the person leaves, the door closes and she has an anxiety attack. And it was the first time in film that I was like, that's exactly what it's like. Like, unless you've had one, it's not crying. It's so different. It's a combination of crying and not being able to breathe.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that makes me kind of scared to watch the show now.
Oh, it's a really good show, but I gotta find out what episode that was because I should give them a kudos. Nailed
That's
it.
amazing.
That's not an easy thing to do it to act
No,
out a
absolutely.
real. So talking about
Very
coping
impressive.
strategies, I know. So we've both encountered that. What is some of your coping strategies?
For anxiety and stuff like that. Um, I mean, I would say, I mean, obviously the main ones, for me, stuff like just going outside, gardening,
Right?
hiking, going out into nature, stuff like that.
Connect to
Just,
nature.
yeah, I mean, just feeling, I mean, especially in the summer and everything, not a big winter fan, but
Oh my God, me neither.
when
That's when my anxiety goes up. People are like, "You're
it does,
Canadian, embrace winter." I was like,
right?
it's
Yeah,
an
I don't
adult
know.
podcast, so I can do
I
that.
don't
For
know
those
about
listening and not
that.
watching, I just flipped the bird.
Yeah, there you
Never done
go.
that on the show before.
Yeah, screw you, Win. But yeah, I mean, just going outside, especially in the summer and everything, is like hugely beneficial. I do have a good support system and everything. Talk to my mom every day on the phone, and
Oh, good.
my wife and roommate and adopted sister and everything, and real life sister, and all the people in my life. So I do have a great support system, and my cat who's sitting right next to me too. So.
Can we see her?
Yes, there he is. He is a black void, so I don't know how well you'll be
A
able to
black
see him
void.
on camera.
I get it. We have a toy poodle. He just disappears
Yeah,
into everything.
right. He's one with the sheets. But yeah, stuff like that. Smoking cannabis.
And that's one of the perks we have. And I don't know, is it across Canada that it's legalized? Or is that
It
just
is,
an Ontario
yeah.
thing? Oh, it is across
Yeah, no,
Canada.
it's all across Canada. Yeah.
Awesome. It's so funny. I know that I mean, everybody knows on the internet that I drink beer. I
Mhm.
really like my beer.
Yeah.
But when I smoke cannabis, I go to
Mhm.
sleep so fast. And people are like,
Exactly.
you're trying the wrong strain. No, honey. No. Like I've tried them all. People are like, oh, just try this. You'll have so much fun.
Right.
No.
I know. Sometimes that's just what you need, though. So
I think
yeah.
that's probably what it is. I'm always on. And so when I
Mhm.
have cannabis, my brain's like, are we ready for a nap? Okay.
Yeah, time to
Bam.
turn off now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel yeah.
Um,
But yeah, just like stuff like that for sure.
yeah, it's incredible. I think the healing power of gardens and nature, we still haven't fully understood it. There's
Hmm.
still so much that we're only scratching the surface, right? There's so
Absolutely.
much benefits.
And I think too, especially with gardening with native plants and everything, I do think um it kind of just makes you look beyond yourself, if you're planting something that is beneficial for, someone else. Yeah, I was planting stuff for a client earlier this week, and there were like it was flowering and there were bees coming to it as I was putting it into the ground. So it's one of those things where it really helps you focus on, other beings too, I guess.
Johnny, that's
You can add an inspirational quote to it or something.
yeah. But in all seriousness, that is a huge thing for as a coping mechanism is
Mhm.
take the focus off yourself, right? When you are in the pit,
Exactly.
when you've reached rock bottom, it's really hard to think about
Mhm.
others.
Yeah.
But if you can shift your mindset and instead of
Mhm.
thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm so heavy right now. What
Mhm.
can I do for something or someone else in this moment?"
Yeah.
Take that off you,
Mhm.
right? And do it for something else. Even if it's just filling
Absolutely.
a one of the things that I used to do and I still do now, but I would make it a bit of a ritual if I was
Mhm.
really struggling, right? And
Yeah.
I would take a you know the dish that sits in the bottom, like you have a ceramic pot and then there's the plastic dish in the
Yeah.
bottom, hatch plate. I don't even know what it's called.
I
That's
think
hilarious. Whatever that is. And I would fill it with water and put some marbles, right? And maybe like a piece of sage or some rosemary or cilantro. Insects
Mhm.
and critters love cilantro. Just saying.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
True.
and I would fill it with water and put it on the ground. And then I would just sit from a
Mhm.
distance and kind of watch it. And it's incredible the kind of critters that will come up or land
Absolutely.
to take a drink, right?
That's such a cool idea. Such
Yes.
a cool one of the going back to kind of like inspirations and stuff like that. One of the things that my mom did for me when I was like a little kid was just she sectioned out, I think it was just like kind of like 1 foot by 1 foot section in the yard. And I was just like, stationed there to like observe what was going on within it for like a half hour. And there were so many insects and there's moss growing in it and, so many different cool things, even if it was just within some turf grass,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I
I
remember
mean,
doing, I think there's like a science experiment that you do, or at least I did in grade 4 or 5, where you sit and you watch, same thing. It's like a meter by a meter,
yeah.
and you try and see how many, while you were just sitting there, how
Hmm.
many birds did you see or hear? How many
Yeah,
beetles came through? How many ants did you see? What kind of ants were they? Right? How many different kinds of
absolutely.
grass can you
It's
see?
amazing, like the amount of diversity just within like a little tiny, tiny area. And I think that, yeah, I mean, I've seen so many schools here in London too, which is really nice to see, like with pollinator gardens and stuff like that. I mean, imagine doing that experiment, but in a garden like that, it would just
Right?
be like exponential, the amount of stuff that you would see and just the diversity and everything could blow a lot of people's minds, I think.
Just amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
I would rather walk into a garden that looks a little wild, but is full of life,
Hmm.
and walk
Absolutely.
into something that is perfectly manicured and pristine, and there's not a weed in sight, and you also don't hear any birds.
If I wanted to go golfing, I go golfing.
Which is a whole other topic, because golf courses have all this land that could be manicured gardens that are actually benefiting pollinators.
That's true. That's true. I'm
Ding.
pretty sure that was another study that Mount Cuba Center did. This ADHD again, just going off the
No,
rails.
I'm totally with
But
you. Whoever's listening to this,
I
they are on a ride today. I
yes,
love it.
yes. Thank
You
you,
said it's
thank you
Mount
for
Cuba Center?
Mount Cuba Center. Yeah, they're based in, I want to say it's somewhere in the eastern US. So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it's the like New England area, but they do research on just like native plants and survey insects and stuff like that to kind of
Nice.
a lot of the stuff they do is like very relevant for residential gardening and everything because they try to determine like, okay, so if you have like a small amount of area, what's the most like beneficial thing you could put there. So they do insect surveys, they check out to see what plants bring in the most amount of butterflies and
So cool.
stuff like that. So I'm really appreciative of them. I go check out their stuff all the time for references.
Okay. And this is a new one to me. So I'm going to be looking them
Yeah,
up and creeping them out for sure. I
yeah.
mean, not creeping them out. Wait,
Just creeping
hold
on
on.
them.
I'm going to be creeping them out.
Yeah,
Wow. This is a better cider than I thought it was.
there you
No,
go.
it's just my brain. We're on a ride today. So, lastly, and one of the things, so we talked a little bit before we started recording, but you are a trans individual and
Yes.
you have gone through one heck of a journey. So, kudos to you. Again, happy Pride Month. This is
Yeah,
just so
thank you.
funny. We happen to be recording in June, which is very cool. I too am a
Mhm.
member of the LGBTQ. So, we're
Yes.
we're the bi business ownership over here, right?
Woo woo.
So, yep, bi pride, you got it.
Awesome.
So if you're comfortable, can you tell me, tell our listeners, what has your journey been like? You did mention that you've got an incredible support system, but I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are probably listening and wondering, I don't even know what that means. Like, so many people still don't understand, what does that mean? Like, why is this? It's such a topic right now. And I know
Yeah.
that for me personally, I get very emotional. It's a subject that's very important to me because I think love is love and
Mhm.
people are people and we should just embrace each other for who we are.
Yeah.
But right now, there are a lot of LGBTQ plus people and individuals who are actually in danger. It's not just about love is love anymore. Like, people are being attacked, especially in the States, right? So it's a heavy topic that a lot of people don't necessarily know who to ask the questions that they have. So I appreciate you being open and sharing your experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely been a crazy time for sure, especially like I said, I grew up in the US and everything. Fortunately I kind of got out of the United States before the spotlight kind of got directed on a lot of trans people and everything. Back
Right.
in 2019, I moved up here. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been something that's kind of crazy to like see from this vantage point and everything,
Mm-hmm.
just like all the attention focused on it and everything is just like very, I don't know, it just feels like very out of left field or something and just kind of random, but
Yeah, I thought we
uh,
were progressing.
yeah, no, it
And then
definitely
it's
seems
like,
like exciting, but
yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely something that's yeah, like I said, just like strange to witness and everything. And, I haven't been back into the US since, the T word was reelected. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I'm definitely being cautious about with the border and everything because of how crazy everything's been. But
I can't even imagine.
yeah,
I mean, I know like so many people. I think tourism to the States is down like 70%. And they're like,
imagine any
why?
Canadian
We don't
want to go
understand
there.
why. Why is tourism
Right?
down?
Gee, I wonder why.
So, for your own journey, at what age did you know that, wait, this isn't who I am? I'm not where I'm supposed to be or who I'm supposed to be. Like, when did this all
Uh,
start for you?
I mean, honestly, since I was like a little kid, you can trace it back to when, like some of the first memories I've had were like, pertaining to some of this stuff, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, I like started identifying as non-binary. And then from there, I just, which was basically like trans for me. So I just like kind of started adopting that label once I became more comfortable with it and everything. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of went from there. And, I have great doctors and everything too, which is wonderful.
Awesome.
You
Oh,
know, yeah, no, I mean, London fortunately has like a ton of really good resources for like trans and non-binary people and everything, which is really, really good. A lot of cities
mhm.
don't have that.
Thank goodness we're here. And I'm
Yeah,
so glad too that you've got a great support system.
definitely.
Because I've seen it, I've witnessed it, right? I'm sure you have too with other individuals or people in your own life. And it's like, I'm just coming to you,
Absolutely.
telling you who I am. And
Yeah.
like, it just breaks my heart. It just,
No, no, I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky and everything. I'm, in a safe area. I have like a wonderful support system. All my clients are wonderful and everything. You have to,
awesome.
it's one of those things, like I said, just the authenticity of the business, like if someone hires me, they're gonna have to be okay with like a trans girl digging holes in their backyards. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's like, I am me. And if I am not, what is the phrase? I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but for some people, I'm the perfect shot of whiskey.
There I love that. And that's perfect for this podcast too.
Right? Yeah. And I am definitely not everybody's cup of tea.
I love that.
So, yeah, kudos to you. So happy for you and your business. Hitting the 1 year milestone is huge. I'm
Yeah,
sure I'll be seeing you around. We're like practically neighbors.
definitely.
Oh,
I know it's so fun running into you at events and everything. It's so great always seeing you. And,
yeah,
London, like I said, has a great community. There's a bunch of people that I've continually just kind of bumped into at these events and everything. And it's really starting to feel like kind of a little family.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Amanda from Living with Roses. She was on the
Hmm.
show as well, and she's been at CD Saturday and Earth Fest, and she's
Yeah.
an incredible artist. She was a nurse. She left
Hmm.
nursing, and now she makes homemade, like handmade jewelry using the flowers in her own garden.
That's so cool.
Like,
That's
oh
so
my
cool.
gosh, so creative.
Yeah. And also shout out to Nancy from Nancy's Creations and
Nancy's
Three
Creation.
Acres Farms too. I always run into them at events and they're or 3 Acres Permaculture, I think it is.
3 Acres Permaculture. Perfect. I'm going to reach out to them. Thanks for giving me their names because maybe they'll want to be on the show
Absolutely.
and we can
Absolutely.
talk about what they're doing. So, very cool stuff. So Jonni, you are easily reached. You are on Facebook. You're on
Yes.
Instagram, Forest City Native Gardens.
Forest City
Uh,
Native.
or forestcitynativeGardens@gmail.com. Very
That's
easy to
right.
reach. So if anybody's listening and they're looking for some advice with native gardens, native gardening, native plants, some recommendations, you name it, Jonni's got it.
You
So,
got it.
Jonni, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's been an absolute
Yeah.
pleasure just chatting plants and going down rabbit holes with you. I'm
Oh my
sure we'll
gosh,
do it
Heather.
again.
Yes, thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Okay. Cheers. I will see you around.
Alrighty.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.